I want to talk to you today about protecting your property from fraud, and most specifically, what we can do when we review that monthly package that comes from the property manager. And I'm sure you realize that almost all businesses produce periodic reports. This is how the leaders assure how the business is running and where it needs to go. So we need a game plan to detect issues that'll be a concern. And we're going to go into a couple of those as we go through this conversation. The most important document in that package to me as accountant is the budget comparison report. That's the form that shows what was spent in the various categories and received as income and what the original budget was to date. We realized that that budget was created up to 15 months before the items were incurred, but it's our best benchmark as where we expect it to be this year, and therefore it's an important tool. It allows us to easily detect areas of concern. Now, one area would be where an item is over budget. We want to evaluate why it's over budget and what the issues are, and maybe adjust where we are. We don't want to get to the end of the year with numerous items that are above budget without offsetting savings and have a deficit. On the other side, we could have lower amounts than budget. And the good news is these could indicate cost savings and be something that we should reward ourselves that we've accomplished. But also, it could be that those bills just haven't been paid and they're accumulating as unpaid bills, and therefore you're not even aware that you have the deficiency. So asking questions and getting details on these informations is vital to your taking care of watching the building for fraud, because either of these could indicate the possibility of manipulation or misappropriation that's going on. And in that area, we need to protect our cash. It's one of the most vulnerable, and it needs to be specifically safeguarded. So I want you to think whether or not you get a bank reconciliation with your monthly report. That's the important link between the monthly reports and the amount on the bank statement. And when you check that to the bank statement, you actually see the amount of cash that's available. Now, that way you know that cash exists. If you don't see the bank statement, you might be told that cash exists that really doesn't. Now, on the side of cash, we also suggest that all boards assure that they have access to the accounts. That means at least one board member is always a signatory. The banks will only speak to signatories if there's any issue with the account. So we want to make sure that the property manager is not the only one who has signatory rights on the account. These are really important controls to be able to monitor your expenses to budget and the amount of cash you have to protect your property. Now, there's no way to fully stop the risk of fraud, but we believe if you work with management and ask questions and follow up on these items, you create a situation which minimizes the risk. And we want to relieve that concern that the next bad news in this industry won't include your property.